A very, very warm good evening. This is Arnav Chaudhary. This is my YouTube channel, Arunfoot, and welcome back to the channel. It is Thursday, July the 31st. It's the last day of the 7th month of the year 2025. It's 1st of August tomorrow. And let's wait and see what happens. Again, big topic of discussion, I guess, today will be who's going to be the Indian men's national team head coach, who will the AIFF executive committee appoint. And at the start of this video, as I always like to do, if you are new or old, please subscribe to the channel. Please share this video if you like it. And of course, like it as well. We of course crossed the 2,800 mark now, and we need to keep on growing, as I said yesterday. So therefore, as always, I need your support. So do like, share, and subscribe everything, and let's take this forward. Hi Kumar, welcome back. Ashwini said high probability it's going to be Khalid. Aditya, again, if that's what his people are saying, then okay, my people are saying something different. My contacts are saying something different, and therefore for me, again, it is everybody's, they can talk about whatever they want to, but for me, as far as I know, the decision hasn't been made so far, because a lot of people in the executive committee have not been asked about this matter. And let's wait and see. So therefore, let's wait and see what happens. He also said that Marcus didn't have any fault in how even Fabrizio shared it. Aditya, I have spoken about it. Again, everybody is up to their own opinion. I have an opinion, and I say this, and I say this on this topic with conviction, as someone who has studied journalism, who's worked in the media space many, many years as my main job. I said what I think about it, and I stick to it. If other people have other opinions, please, this is his fault, period. I've said it, and I'll stick to it, right? Hi, woman, welcome back. Hi, Blue. Biggest logo downfall I ever saw. Did someone really get paid for that? Blue, you're asking a very valid question, which to me I cannot answer. The logo was revealed a little while ago. At least I saw it on Twitter, and I have to say that it was not to my, let's put it this way, personal liking, but it was surely cleared by Sunny Singh, and if they thought this was the way forward, then congratulations to Punjab FC. But to me, if this is the evolution of the old logo to the new logo, then I have to say, no, that's for me, it doesn't work. It honestly doesn't work, and I don't know. It's not a step forward. It is not a step forward. Hi, Lucky. Welcome back. Hi, sir. Your views about Punjab FC new logo. Karam, I don't like it. If you ask me this directly, I don't like this logo. It's again, whoever has taken the call. If it was Sunny Singh himself or someone else, it is for them. So therefore, for me, I wish Long Glass Punjab or Punjab FC always the best, but this logo, I don't know, not my liking. No, Ochut, it wasn't. Listen, Ochut, we've talked about this. All these things are being pushed. Look at how the whole Supreme Court final verdict on the AIFF constitution now has been going on as a merry-go-round for over 2 weeks. All of this, India has a lot of issues, a lot of problems, and those are more important than sports, it seems. And if you look at that sports bill, the more I read of, it has its weaknesses, and we will have to wait and see. Maybe Mr. Neig is mad that he didn't get the chance first to report on the soaps and made a story of how he even made Chavez versus asking for permission of the news. Yeah. Aditya, I don't know what his intention is and what it is, what it wasn't. Yeah, the old logo of Punjab FC was great. Were you involved in making back then? Karam, yes and no, because I remember we had an initial logo and then it was corporatized. So the Punjab FC logo is the evolution of the former round glass Punjab logo into the Punjab FC logo. And yeah, let's see. So like you said, since CAFA tournament is outside FIFA window and Iran won't have their best players, what's about Indian clubs? Will they allow the players to go? Waman, where are the Indian clubs playing? Simple question. Are the Indian clubs playing? Right? But, so therefore for me, there are enough players, and we'll have to wait and see. Iran won't have best players. Why? Because they play in Europe, and the European season would have started. The Indian season is not running, so therefore there is no contact. And if, let's be honest, the Indian season would have started around the middle of September. So therefore, does it clash? Doesn't clash? It's a different question. I mean, Malaysia got eliminated. We got the spot for Asian Cup, which we know how it's going on. And now Malaysia also left the cup competition. We got in someone who doesn't believe in stereotypes. I'm scared. Where did Malaysia get? For which Asian Cup did Malaysia get eliminated? We got the spot. Aditya, what did I miss? Sorry, I'm not getting that. Their logo was basically perfect, and they did this. Yeah, Blue, I think you summarized it very, very well. Hi, Ashwin. Welcome. Mohnbagan won 3-1 against Mohammedan Sporting in Durand Cup with 10 men for a little more than 45 minutes. Yeah, but Mohammedan Sporting, Mohammedan Sporting has a lot of issues with players, this and everything. So therefore, that makes it a little easier, I guess. But yeah, the whole squad of Indians to win it is very good. Kawan, as we talked about yesterday, these days football clubs are simplifying the club logo, except that club where Anthony used to play and Roma. Aditya, this is not a simplification of a logo. We spoke about it, but you said simplifying the logo. The Juventus logo is a simplification? No, it's an evolution. This is a walk back from a very, very good logo. I feel it was a very good logo, even if there is even 1% contribution of mine, if at all, but that doesn't matter. That logo was good. Now this is, I don't know, it looks like a Mickey Mouse League team, right? I can't take it seriously, sorry. The Trump tariff overshadowed everything at the moment, so it will be delayed, I think. Yeah, Blue, but again, there will always be something to overshadow something, and it shows you that the sports bill, where does it lie in the priority? And you don't have to pull out the government or the opposition or former government or this or that, so therefore for me, that's why to me, there's always something. The India does not prioritize sports. Let's call it out what it is, and that's the real problem. I have a big question whether AIFF has shortlisted 3 coaches, but I'm really wondering if the CVs they submit are original. I have a serious doubt. Trainer Wala, what CVs are you going to submit? If I do a simple Google search, if I do a simple, check transfer market, for example, then I'll know. No? I mean, what do I need to know about the CV of Stephen Constantine? I think Stephen Constantine's CV is known. What do I need to know about Khalid Jamil? I think we know where he coached over the last, 15, 16, 17 years. We also know about Tarkovic, right? I don't know, this is not a, job application where it's difficult to cross-check your CV. These are people who are in the public domain, right? So therefore, and so therefore, I don't know if I don't know where you get this. You have doubts about the CVs. We can discuss that there were coaches who, or people have applied in the name of coaches who don't even know. But that's the point. Yes, from a political and administrative point of view, there are more important agendas. But I see India versus Pakistan cricket being referred in the parliament. Oh, cricket is a different breed in India. Which we spoke about it, to cricket and football, to be discussed in the same breath, I think is a very, very difficult thing at this moment in time, because cricket has its importance, the priority. Look at Sourav Ganguly raising a topic and then Sourav Ganguly being abused for that. So therefore, these are realities of things. So therefore, again, when we talk about sports in India, let's take cricket out of that bracket. Cricket bracket it itself, rest of the sports. Yeah. Good evening, Siddharth. Welcome back. I think I was talking about CAFA, not Asian Cup. Yeah, that's something. The Trump Travis rumor negotiation is still going on. It's not a rumor, Aditya. He said it himself. Even my 12-year-old nephew has created a better logo for his FIFA. I'm again. There is someone in the design team who says, "Listen, let's take it this way." It was liked by the owners most probably, and then they've taken that route. I mean, I just look at it as again, but to me, no. I mean, you're not going to convince me with this as a logo. I mean, does not look like a. Yeah. No, doesn't look. I don't know. Scary. What is Supreme Court up to? Supreme Court delaying in giving final order in Indian football draft constitution. The clubs and AIFF should approach the proper channel. League football on hold. SB Sports Extremes. What are they going to do? The clubs have nothing to say. Sorry, the clubs have nothing to say because the clubs didn't bother. We have discussed it in the last few days where I've clearly said the clubs have woken up like 5 minutes before 12 and said, okay, listen, let's, we have to somehow, that is better for them. And the AIFF their hands are tied. It is up to the Supreme Court. And if the Supreme Court, is it delaying? Does the Supreme Court have other priorities? Maybe that is something to look at. And these things have to be considered, right? To me, those are, if we like them or not, these are the current realities, and so therefore for me, what channels do you want to use? Do you want, could the clubs ask for an injunction, say, listen, can you look at it? Can you allow, I don't know if that would take the matter forward. The question now also is, would Reliance also agree to it? And say, if the clubs go now with the AIFF and say, listen, okay, can you allow it? Can we extend the season from December 8th to 31st of May? And then, you do a temporary extension of the old MRA. Do we know if Reliance would agree to that? Has anyone talked to them? Right? To be honest, I'm pretty sure opposition don't even care. Maybe, but will be banned and passed without much discussion. Later decision, as you said, not priority. Yeah, it's not priority at both ends, and that's the problem. It's true, India doesn't prioritize sports. Best example today, Pro Kabaddi League had to postpone their matches because of Cricket Asia Cup. It's a sport like cricket, and it's not for money. But that's the reality, right? And Kabaddi is to me a very, very good example. The reality is, Kabaddi is not as big as it has been made, right? Outside of cricket, let's be honest, all leagues have failed. Let's be brutally honest. That's the reality of Indian sports in the year 2025. It's troublesome to say that even after Puya red card, they thrashed Mountain Sporting, which is concerning because I thought he kept the team together and without them, the 11 would collapse. Because without Amit Jahu back in 20, the whole Odisha FC team used to collapse. Aditya, what are you making comparisons of? Don't compare the ISL matches with this Duran Cup. They're playing a whole Indian team. Look at Mohammedan Sporting is can't buy players at the moment. They have to play with what they have. What are you comparing that? It's no point this comparison. When will we witness an Indian talent going to one of the top 5 leagues from our grassroots? Now I am a teen. I doubt that will happen even if I become an old man. Red Apple at the moment, I don't see that. That is another point that I've raised quite a number of times where I clearly say, listen, guys, where is that exceptional talent to come up in India? And if there is someone who's really, really good, that player will come through 100%, you know? And I've not seen anything. I mean, the best I've seen in the last 27 years that I've been following it closely and I've in my travels with teams or work with clubs, this and everything, is by far I am Vision, the best football talent. But if I look at, fighting in our great character, then you would say Baicham Bhutia and Sunil Chetri, right? But we don't produce those kind of guys, those characters. If Punjab FC needed more community action, they should have looked for a stadium in Punjab or some Punjabi players, but they come up with this crap. Karam, signing Punjabi players, nice. I don't know if it makes a difference to sign somewhat so-called local players. And stadium is an issue, right? They want to be in and around Chandigarh. They don't want to go to Ludhiana or Amritsar or elsewhere, right? So that's the problem, right? Saw some contract between AIFF and Sync Football Academy for women's junior football, or is just it's something that they're going to work together and try to develop an under 15 women's team at Zinc. Zinc uses sports science, sports tech, so let's see what they can do. The logo looks like a children drawing competition and picked from there. Doesn't feel any sense of football in it. Yeah, sadly, yes. Good evening, Ishan. What's the big news for today? Missed out on any football news today. Ishan, I think the big news one is that the sports bill hasn't been passed, which was supposed to pass yesterday. That people are saying Khalid Jamil is done, which I've spoken to a few people today, and all of them said to me the same thing. It is not done. People are still talking about the matter within the AIFF. So the EXCO will talk about. I know that there are certain people who have been clearly batting for Khalid Jamil. But there's certain people who are batting, so therefore that's the thing. New coach announcement tomorrow. Ishan, supposedly, right? So therefore, the AIFF EXCO is meeting tomorrow, and then, yeah. Khalid said our strikers need crash course for top strikers. They are just all people working federation need a multiple year course from people working in top federations like JFA, KF, etc. Yeah, again, the day is long, and if the day is long, then a lot of things are said, and I think to take everything that's been said to take it seriously would be also a mistake. The lack of coordination in clubs waking up now, what do you think are the reasons? Aditya, very simply, the clubs didn't have to bother. Reliance, through IMG Reliance initially, and then later on through FSDL, was running the league. Nobody had to bother about things. They literally turned up, then the start of the season, they towards, at the start, even the match organization was coordinated within Reliance, IMG Reliance and the clubs. Now the clubs do it themselves. But otherwise, they didn't have to bother about things, right? And yeah, they said the things will continue the way they are, right? So they did not do their homework. Again, I was watching a video of mine which I made in March, where I asked this question. How's the future going of the ISL? Yeah, they didn't bother. They didn't believe me. I said this 2 years ago. I mean, if you want, watch the video a couple of days ago where Shaggy joins me towards the end. Shaggy clearly says, "Now you said in Bangalore on the night that India won the SAF championship, that now is the time for the AIFF to work on to extend the contract with FSDI. Very logical. India wasn't high at that time, right? So they missed the bus. Football rather than football plays football rather than football. Kumar, he didn't, right? So if we're speaking about the sports bill, then it is so, some people are victimizing the clubs like they used to and still do with I-League and NFL clubs. No one understands that clubs had something to do. Yeah, Blue, that's a very important point, very big point that you mentioned. A lot of people, yeah, and people haven't understood. The clubs are major stakeholders in Indian football, right? Be it at the top level with the players, they should be running academies, youth programs, grassroots, infrastructure, everything. And I've said this, I say this because they are the biggest spenders. To me, good example, Mohun Bagan Supergiant should be spending 15-20% of the money, towards infrastructure and the whole shebang of youth and grassroots. But no, they will spend all their money on the first team and win, if need be, win the ISL in the next 5 years. That is the problem of thinking of the people who are either owners or running the clubs. More problem than the people running the clubs, the owners. Because in an Indian system, the owner, you have to keep the owner happy to be working in this ecosystem. And the problem to me is that the owners don't understand, right? Being successful in business, being successful in life in general, doesn't mean that you can run a sporting entity, right? And it is not just in football. I think we saw that over the last 2 years, Mr. Goenka and his Lucknow Supergiant stuff, I don't even know what the player's name is, where he was explaining to a seasoned cricketer what to do, not to do, right? That's the problem. Do you have kabaddi is more useless than cricket? Blue, you can say that, but again, others will say differently. Again, what doesn't matter. Cricket sucks oxygen out of Indian sports. That's, if I like it, that's the reality. Very sorry, but it's true. Cricket is killing other sports. Yeah, if you want to be even harsher, Trader Wala, yeah, we can say that. It has, for example, the whole broadcasting business in India is dead because of the deals for the IPL and for the BCCI rights. There is no money left in the broadcasting business to spend, be it football, be it kabaddi, be it new leagues, like, I don't know, basketball, this, that, rugby started off, rugby had to play it, I-League paid money to be put on a channel. This is the reality of broadcasting in India in the year 2025, that sports broadcasting doesn't have money, that they're not willing to spend money on top rights, right? A lot of the rights in the recent past have now wandered to Fancode, right? Why have they? Because the other platforms are not willing to show it. These people working federation have the intention of filling their wallets not to grow football in the country. Red Apple, that is also a very big allegation that you're making. The question to me is, where is the money that they can put into their pockets? That, it's easy to say. Prove to me where people are. We've had this discussion over the last 2 days. If you're making such an allegation against people of the federation, can you prove, you or whoever makes an allegation, that XYZ has filled his or her pockets? Just prove it. If you have that proof, go to a court, do a case. Yeah. So can you name any player in this current Indian team whom you felt that he can go abroad and do really well because they did well here in India? Yeah, woman. Larinswala Chante. That's why I helped Chante with friends to go on a trial at Viking Stavanger, right? We did that with Chante because we thought that he can be the player, and Viking offered him, right? Yeah. So that's the player to me. Changte I met Changte at 14, 15, I remember, when he was still, when Desh Ki Shivajins and all. And then I remember saw him after that, met him when I went in Jan 2016 with Tete and JJ and all. And I've been following him. And Yeah, he's the best one of the. If you ask me, of the current lot, he would have the one. Hi, methamphetamine. I'm good. My hopes for India's qualification is fading. No league and our players will be rusty. This is the worst of all situation. Everyone will be loser. Yeah, but maybe CAFA Nations Cup, maybe time in between gives whoever the coach is the time to do something, right? Even God isn't sending someone like Tendulkar in Indian football. In all other fields, you will surely find one or two God-gifted talent who is a cut above the rest. Yeah, but Uchut, to a football player has to be special, right? I mean, football is become such a sport, so therefore, yeah. But I've not seen such an Indian talent. Why are the ISL clubs complaining and panicking now? Shouldn't they have discussed this earlier? Incompetence. The name is Indian football. Thy name is Indian football. Ishan, because as long as I said, and I repeat, as long as the system was running, as long as I was not facing a problem, why do I have to bother? Just think about it. The last proper league meeting in the Indian Super League with Mrs. Ambani involved happened in August 2014 when I was involved with Mumbai City. 2014, right? They don't even sit down jointly all together and have a meeting on things. They've not even had it now. So what are we talking about, right? These clubs have nothing to demand because they are nowhere where they could and should and need to be. Sir, who we can players, we need the finished product. Redawala, if we don't do the right work at grassroots, if we don't scout, if we don't work at youth level, we will not create the talent. To me, the only way to try and work around this issue, this problem, is to integrate players of origin, right? We need to get OCIs involved. And to me, getting OCIs involved is not a short-term fix. A lot of people say, oh, it's a short-term fix, it'll give us this and that. No, it's a long-term fix. Once you start, you will not go back in the short term. But it forces players in the Indian ecosystem. Either you want to play ISL, and if you want to play national team, you have to be better. Either you get better in the ISL or whatever the league is, or you go abroad. And then you have to fight for your position. That's the problem. And Vijayan, our technical director, said he's not technical director. He's the head of the technical committee. An article that we will get Savi if the resume is from him at any cost. So that, what is he implying? Aditya, they were speaking about it because some people thought it was the real CV. And I'm Vijayan said that. He said that. I've done the video, right, on that in regard to the hoax. That I'm Vijayan said it. Nah? Watch my Shavi hoax. Video 984. Right? He said it. So, yeah. So, but don't just bash cricket as a sport. It is beautiful and difficult and administrated. There is super job in 80s, 90s to build the foundation. Even IPL T20 was opposed, but we say initially. Yeah, but Uchur, what happened? I know what happened. No? And I remember I was working in the Caribbean when this Allen Stanford T20 was happening in Antigua, right? We were working in Antigua, St. Kitts and other islands on football. And I saw that, right? That was more of a carnival. Then you had the ICL, which Z started, right? That was at the time, when Z also entered football, they wanted to do football. They wanted to actually work against cricket. But then they said, you know what? Let me not do too much football. Let me try and do cricket. Then ICL came. BCCI realized they're on a losing footing. Lalit Modi, who had gone to football, then said, Mr. Dasmunsi turned him down, said, I'm not convinced by your concept. He went to the BCCI, came in the right moment. They did the IPL, and the rest, the rest is history. It is the entire ecosystem. Decision makers are in favor of cricket for ways. Yeah, that's the problem. No? That is India of 2025. That is our biggest problem, that people support cricket, people make money off cricket, and people don't allow other sports to grow. Whatever they're saying about Olympics, this and that, everything. If 50% of the money invested by Reliance had been utilized properly, it would be in a better position today. Terawala, no. Because you look at China, look at Qatar, look at the UAE, look at even Saudi, how much money has been spent. The correlation of saying, if the money was widely spent, things would be better, doesn't have to be. It could be, but it does not have to be, because the Chinese have spent X times more money, and actually today they're as good, or not as bad as we are, but they're not good, right? Bob Houghton de facto qualified the Chinese. They played the 2002 World Cup. They used to have Sun Jihai at the time used to play at Man City. Du Wei used to play at Everton. Jiaji Shao used to play in the German Bundesliga for Eintracht Frankfurt. Where are these Chinese top players who are playing in Europe? So therefore, it is not just the correlation of money and spending it properly. You don't know. It could be. It doesn't have to be. Even if you see decent Asian teams have their future prospect, India has Marcelino, talent has Sunafat Muenta, Malaysia have Arif Aiman. Whom do we have? No one. Red Apple. That is what I've been saying. The younger players are not pushing the older players, right? Our players are blooming in their late 20s, early 30s. My favorite example of this is someone like a Rahul Beke. Rahul Beke, who was made a lord a few years ago, has become one of the best Indian defenders in the last few years. Good prime example, post being 30 plus, right? So that's the reality. Yeah, LSG is a comedy show, thank God. For at least he doesn't interfere the coaches. Yeah, Blue, maybe he will if Mohamed Sojat finishing not in top 3 for 2 straight years. That is an interesting point, Blue. If Mohamed and Supergiant don't finish in the top 3, or no, I'm not even doing top 2. If he doesn't finish in top 2, then I would like to see what happens. I have a slightly different opinion. I feel we Indians have obsession with one sport that gives us limelight. It could be cricket. In India, esports has always been PUBG Mobile or Free Fire, for example. Yeah, no, I don't. Does cricket give us limelight? This is the question that I ask, because the so-called limelight that we're having, and I realize that here in Germany with the new people who come from India, which I see at my Pujo and all our other functions, our Durga Pujo and all that stuff, they're obsessed with cricket, right? There are a lot also who like football, who like sports. We've got this one guy who literally every weekend goes to different sporting events. He lives in and around Cologne and goes to different sporting events. He says, listen, I like to, he's gone to basketball, he's gone to volleyball, he's gone to handball, he's gone to this, he's gone to that, right? And there are others who watch cricket, but there are others, of course, who are very fond of football, and they're very happy to live in a place like Germany to be able to watch football. Clubs pay money to Sony for I-League, but Durant Committee gets them to broadcast. It is because of government armed force influence. Uchud, your question, I think, answered itself. Yeah, of course. The flow of money in the IPL is so high that business owners think they can earn similar profits in other sports as well, but when they don't even see 10% of that return, they want exits. Tradewala, but that's also not true, no? If you wanted exits, there have been people who've lost 300, 400 crores in football, owners of ISL teams, right? So that doesn't work. They could have exited after 5 years, 7 years, 10 years, right? And we've had Delhi move to Odisha, and we've had Pune city closing down because of the owners having financial problems and whatever. Otherwise, we haven't had that, right? But the point is, forget football, but every other sport, people invest money and hope to make money back, so therefore, yeah, that's the reality. It might be too much to expect, but can AIFF use this league drought situation to hold a long camp for Indian team with new coach, and can it help? But I mean, the question is finance. I go back to the main question, and yes, I think you can do a big camp in September. I think once the team comes back, if the league hasn't started, the league's not going to start, right? And so let's wait and see what the AIFF does. I think again that we are playing CAFA Nations Cup is good, period, right? Is it because of the AIFF? Is it because of CAFA? It doesn't matter. We're playing that. Good. Let's take it. And then, again, the new coach hopefully will be decided tomorrow. And I hope in the next 10 days the camp starts so that he gets 2 weeks of training before they head to Tajikistan. Hi, Krishna. Welcome back. So thoughts on letter signed by 8 ISL clubs. Siddharth, nice. But what value does it have? On one side, you've now woken up, it seems, to the realities of things. And on the other side, you've also not realized that the letter also somehow you throw Reliance under the bus, So and therefore, that's the reason, from what I understand, why certain clubs didn't sign the letter. Right? So it would be better, it would be stronger if at least, again, if even Mohammedan Sporting and all, it's 8 clubs is not good enough. Either you have 12, 13, otherwise it makes, and the AIFF reply is like, yeah, we'll try, let's see what we can do, blah, blah. The AIFF is in opposition, right? Why have you not called for a meeting? Why is not, let's say, a Parth Zindal, a John Abraham, get Ranbir on board, get Mr. Goenka on board? Why are they not calling for a meeting with Mrs. Ambani? Why has that not happened over the last 2 months? Right? It shows me that these guys are, sorry, this is, where do we go with this? Mandap says, remember the days of ICL and NFL. Yeah, NFL, very interesting. 2005 with Z coming in, the Zebras, the cheerleaders, Mayanti Langa coming in, John Helm and this and that, everything. Yeah, it had its own. Yeah. Your thoughts on Odisha FC's shutdown, Rohan blaming government for not letting use Kalinga Stadium and money cut off. Who's responsible for OSC condition? Raj, without Naveen Patnaik, let's be honest about it. Without Naveen Patnaik, this club would have never shifted from Delhi to Odisha. They would have gone somewhere else, right? So Odisha gave them a sweet deal and gave them support. And Rohan is right in the sense where I feel what is he saying? He said, yes, we got certain facilities for free, right? At the moment, they're not even getting the facilities. He's willing to pay for it, right? So don't forget that. But also besides that, corporates who were close to the government or corporates who were supporting sports, all of that is cut off. So we're talking that a substantial financial support line, which was there in the state of Odisha, has been cut off. And if the Odisha government says, hey, listen, after these few years, where are the Odia players? Sorry, it doesn't happen that quickly, right? It is not rocket science to create an Odisha player, a local Odia player to play in Odisha FC. And if ISL never happens and Indian clubs don't make required games per season, will India lose its spot in ACL 2 and Challenge League? Yes, of course, Baulu's animation. If the ISL doesn't happen, we lose it, right? Because we don't have a top tier. Do you feel that both India and China lack good coaches to produce players? Maybe this is why both the nations struggle. India, yes. China has brought in a lot of foreign expertise, but I feel that the way the Chinese are brought up, the Chinese are very good individual athletes, if you see Olympics especially, right? And interesting, their women's teams in sports are better than the men's, be it football, even in field hockey, the women's team is better than the men's. Yeah, so I'm not sure. I think, yeah, that because you used to see in, as I said, early 2000s, you had individual talent with the Chinese, right? Which I don't see today. So therefore, yeah, maybe that's the reason. If Khalid comes, it will be a disaster. Matches in Kafa will say how good Khalid is. If we fumble, the October window will be where Vietnam will be. We're both out of Asian Cup 2027. Yeah, Brad Apple. That's a possibility. Odisha FC shutting down. Siddharth, I think the danger of Odisha FC shutting down as other teams is very, very likely, right? If the league doesn't happen, I think we have today's 31st of July. If we are still talking about this in a month's time on the 31st of August, I think by 1st of September, those SOS lights will not go on and off. We're going to be over that, right? That is a huge, huge danger. Cricket doesn't give limelight in reality, but general Indians feel that it does still rule. Yeah, it's I live abroad. I live in a country where it doesn't care. I mean, even people. When I was a couple of weeks back in London, right? People tell me, "Oh, Test match this," and I always said, "Guys, you know what? In today's world, I don't even know who the Indian cricket players are, honestly." And it is because I'm not interested, So yeah, मिनर्वा जो टूर्नामेंट खेल रहा है वो वैल्यू रखता है या नहीं, क्या वो वेस्ट इंडियन का फ्यूचर है? आर पर simple answer to playing those tournaments, sorry, has no value. I've said that. If Mr. Bajaj wants to get in touch, more than welcome to that. Come over here, play proper friendlies, 11-a-side friendlies, 90-minute friendlies against teams, and you're going to get thrashed left, right, and center at that age group with the quality that is available. If you're beating teams in Scandinavia playing 7-a-sides, it has no value. Hi, Krishna. If possible, can you share some interesting anecdotes of working with Mr. Late Novi Kapadia, sir? What would have been his reaction by seeing this current state of Indian football? Krishna, with all respect to Novi, I've seen very few people with the knowledge that a Novi Kapadia had on Indian football. In regard to stats, their stories, it's incredible. And I remember 2006, we were doing commentary on the Duran Cup, we two. And we decided there wouldn't be a lead commentator, right? Novi and I would be equal. And for me, the tough job was always to get Novi back to the game, because he went and was telling stories about the referee, his family, this, that, about that certain players. Novi had so much of info. It was insane how much information this man had. But also, I have to sadly always say, he lived in the past, because he loved this Indian tournament football, right? He loved the DCM, the Duran Cup, the Rovers Cup, the AIFF Shield, the Scissors Cup, the Bordoloi, the Sikkim Governors Gold Cup, this, that, everything. And I always said, we need a proper league. He wasn't a fan of the ISL, right? He was not a fan of the ISL. And that is always, where we had a lot of discussions. I remember he took me to Jamia Masjid, my first trip to eat over there after a Duran game, and we had a lot of discussions. But I always realized when we were talking football, it was a clash of worlds, because I was coming from a modern Western approach of how we should do the league, and he was coming about, hey, listen, I like my club football. I like these historic tournaments, and this is something, which, we've had a lot of discussions on this, but we were not able to get onto the same page. Can the clubs move the court on their own and push for a swift hearing? Methamphetamine, they could, but they haven't done anything. I don't know. Again, the clubs had the time. They should have done it in early May or something, right? The clubs have been sleeping because they thought, kuch na kuch ho jayega. Something or the other will happen. That, in my opinion, is the biggest flaw in the approach of the clubs that I feel. I don't know, that I feel. And therefore, we are in this situation. Some of the clubs are being proactive. Some of the clubs are being this and that, yeah. Even if you see players like Wu Lei of China went to La Liga and even scored against Messi's Barcelona, and there's Cecil Dangda of Thailand went to La Liga. Yeah, they have had players over there, right? So we don't, right? We've never had a player at that level. 2,800 subscribers reached. Congrats, Arunda. Thanks, Aditya. Yeah, once more, the reminder, if you're liking the conversation, if you are enjoying the conversation, do leave a like behind. 18 likes so far. I think we can do better. Share it with other people. Again, as I always say, we need to, grow the community. I need your help. 2,802 at the moment. Thank you very, very much. Subscribers. Let's push it to 3K. Let's push it to 5. Let's push it to 10. Because I've said over the last 2 or 3 days, if I want to be the voice of change in Indian football, not only for myself, but, so therefore, very, very important. Liston Colasso with a free kick penalty in a Super City Mohnban 3-1 win over Mohnban Sporting. Yes, Nadeem, Blue said at the start. Our biggest arguable prospect in these 2 decades, Sunil Chhetri, has gone in his highest to MLS in Portugal, 2nd division. And he's failed in both. Yeah, in Portugal, he was told, are you a footballer? He was India captain at the time, right? So none of our players, even Baichung, right, had not succeeded. Gurpreet was on the verge of succeeding in Norway, and then he came back. None of our players our male footballers, let's be clear, our male footballers have succeeded. Where Baladevi succeeded in Glasgow, she could have stayed in Europe, and Manisha Kalyan has succeeded in Cyprus and is also succeeding in Greece. Majority clubs did not even think about when the government backs, how will we survive. They focused on transfer market rather than sustainability. Yeah, it's forget the sustainability part, Raj. It's about survival. Sustainability has never been a topic for the clubs because they've been spending, right? The owners have been putting money. Half of clubs will shut down if things don't go well. I spoke with Kerala director. He informed me that clubs are not in capacity to wait more because most of clubs have junior teams. Siddharth, not and all youth setup getting halted because of this. Siddharth, the clubs, not half. If the ISL doesn't happen, if Reliance goes by itself or is forced to go, whatever the route is, I've always said 20 to 25 clubs in the top 3 tiers will shut down. Right? Because a lot of clubs, I mean, think about our friends at Inter Kashi, right? They've just won an historic case in CAS. Normally, they should be partying, celebrating this, that, and everything. And now, okay, you might have won something, right? Which is huge for themselves and for Indian football. And the league that you, by winning that case, should be playing in, might have disappeared. Red Apple says, I'm from Odisha, and Odisha FC hasn't done anything remarkable in promoting grassroots in Odisha. There's not even a single proper Odisha player except Ashish Pradhan of Punjab FC. Yeah, but Red Apple, Adish, local players' development is very difficult. If you come new into the market, it takes time, right? Always seems absurd that such a large population, a very good investment in football, they cannot find a talent. Are they so unlucky with men's team, or do you feel personally that local coaches can be the only way to move forward? I'm just trying to correlate successful nations with number of well-known coaches. It seems to me there is a direct proportionality. Methamphetamine, I think, the problem here is what I always say: grassroots, youth football, competitions, scouting, right? And of course, coaching, right? Those things are intertwined in a big, big way. But Didier Drogba isn't a coaching product, or Samuel Eto'o, whatever, those exceptional talents, let's say, who've come out of these African countries, right? They were suddenly there. Yeah. So therefore, that's the reality. Yeah. And therefore, I think the coaches are a big issue. And the coaches in India don't want to accept that they have a stake in the development of the players, that they have a big role to play, and they're not doing the right things. India is not Germany. We have 28 states with each having different cultures, the travel difficulties, climate issues of poverty, caste, religion. So one cannot say same model can be implemented. Of course it can. Nadeem, football is the only sport where some sort of same model is being implemented around the world. And exactly this rubbish that people say, oh, India is different, right? Doesn't work, right? Exactly this is something that people always say, which makes me angry to the core, because this is rubbish. You know why? Because even a small country like Germany, what we have here in NRW is not the same thing in Bavaria. What this is in Bavaria will not be in the neighboring state of Baden-Württemberg. And what is Baden-Württemberg will not be the same in the eastern part of Germany. Everywhere you have that. If we are willing to create structures, only then it will. Difficulties you have everywhere in the world. We find reasons of failure. We don't find reasons why to make things work. This is another big problem in Indian football of today, in my opinion. Huge problem. Right? That's the reality. If you want to put all of these issues in, yeah, great. Right? We just had a FIFA Club World Cup where, a lot of European teams were moaning about the weather. The weather was worse at the FIFA Club World Cup than 3:00 kickoffs in the I-League days. So what are we talking about? Right? I want to talk about that AIFF pension plan. I was wondering, the staff working in AIFF has been underpaid for months. How the hell are they going to bring that money come from? Who says the AIFF staff is underpaid? Where is that assumption? They'll create a special budget for that, no? And it's been in talks for, I don't know, 5 or 6 years to create a pension fund for certain people who are struggling. Good evening, Dark Knight. I don't remember. Arunda said that if you want to accuse someone, then go to court with proofs. What are you saying? That this is India, not Germany. Court is a death sentence here, such incompetency. Yeah, but I think that you have to do something, right? If you're going to accuse people, either you have the proof or you don't. Or if you say, okay, I'm not going to go to courts, then put the proof out in public and say, this is what I have. So therefore that's the problem, no? Odisha FC worked in women's field. Other than that, no leagues in Odia that youth team can be deployed. Odisha is not a football cultural state like the Bengals, Seven Sisters of the South, so things are hard. But Aditya, I've been seeing, at least for the last 10 years, that the Football Association of Odisha has been organizing their league, right? The Bhubaneswar Cuttack one, their leagues in other districts of the state. The women's has been, Odisha used to be always one of the strong ones. So therefore, for me, I think things could have been done better. ISL club now realize that FS still umbrella now gone. Looks like it. David, I'm saying Dark Knight. Because to me, they seem to realize that they are that the ISL used to do all the stuff for them, all the work for them, and that seems to be gone now, right? So therefore, that's a big problem, that realization. And they also always thought, Reliance is there, don't bother, things will happen. I don't need to take care of things. That is a hard realization for a lot of people at the moment in the AIFF. Not in the AIFF, but in amongst the ISL teams. Not the ISL team generally, amongst all teams, right? That where and how is this going on? Maybe in Africa, footballers are good because first thing, they are scouted by Europe because of genetics. Second, although lack of funds, they only focus on football, no other sports. So yeah, Aditya, they're not scouted at that age, right? There are some normally they train with academies in infrastructure, which is worse than most what India has, right? So therefore, for me, that is, and genetics, this, that, okay, yeah, want to talk about it, great. But a lot of these players come with 16, 17, 18. Again, if you can send the best scouts to India tomorrow and say, find talent that you would like to take to Europe. They'll fly back with zero, right? So if I don't offer you a material which is good enough for you to say, you know what, I want to work on this, I want to work on that. What's it? What is there, right? Our teams have gone over the last, Tata Football Academy used to go since the 80s to, let's say, to Cologne University and stay here for 4 to 6 weeks, right? We've done the under 17 training camp. And 2002, yeah, there were opportunities, but we couldn't do anything. Today, when Indian youth teams go abroad, no one is going to offer you anything, right? We don't stand anywhere. Sadly, that's the reality. What does Carson has a role to play in football? Aditya, good question. Because I think football is one leveler, and but these topics are not actually in football. They try to keep it out. It's not just Indian football. It seems like most Indians just feel we cannot do like X or Y because we have Z problems. Every country has some problem. They overcome this mentality. Shunts are growth. Yeah. Methamphetamine, very, very well said. Very, very well said. Because this is something in India, a lot of people always try and find a reason why I cannot do this, why I cannot do that, right? And that's the problem. Siddharth answers and says, Nadeem Bhai, I can understand India is diverse, but we're doing well in other sports as well, not just cricket. Look, our hockey team, they struggled as well, just like football. So we need robust system. Yeah, that's true, Siddharth. Very well said. Hi, Rushabh. Welcome back. Indians don't have genetics for football is the best example of this pitiful mentality. Yeah, we make ourselves smaller than we are. There is no need to do that, right? And if the genetics thing is something which is supposedly, or we are small, we are weak, and this, look at the guys, some of the South American teams, right, who are gutsy and all. Look at Chile, right? They're not bad, but they're warriors. They're fighting, right? Look at Paraguay and all these countries. Even Argentina. Lionel Messi is not a big player physically and all, right? Look at the Japanese or the Koreans, right? Southeast Asians. Hi, Debojyoti. Then what separates Africans and Indians? Although Africa's lack of info, genetics, lack of ambitions, or perhaps something else. I don't know, and I don't want to admit that Indian players are bad. Indian players are bad, Aditya. That's the first admission you have to make. You've mentioned ambition. Yes, ambitions, fight, desire, right? Indians want to buy their way through. A lot of parents are willing to pay money to get their kids here, there, everywhere, right? But they don't have the quality. And the ones who have quality are not good enough as well. Again, if I go back to what I've tried over the last 25 years, enabling players, trials, this and that and everything. Yeah, very difficult. Very, very difficult. African players are hardworking. When they achieve success, they give back to society. For example, Mane built school, hospital grounds. Daniel, very well said. But again, Sadio Mane, look at other players, as you say, they understand. So of course, some of them, not all, but some of them do. Someone was comparing India and Australia only with the scope of cricket. When I started football, hockey, and Olympics, even kabaddi, both of our mouth got shut. Yeah, but listen, Aditya, then to satisfy both of ourselves, soul, we brought the topic of GDP and turn out income per capita. Australia is better. GDP discussion is the most useless discussion in the world. Look at the size and the population of India. The per capita income is most probably a better example of what it is. Because poorer status of society in the cities, people in a rural settings don't have that much. And the haves and the have-nots, the gap in India is bigger than in an Australia, for example. So therefore, that doesn't help. We as Indian football, with all our problems and failures, are spending more than most of the football world, right? That is the reality and fact. We are nowhere near the spending of what the Chinese have been spending in their prime, about, let's say, a decade back. We're not spending anything close to what the Saudis are spending at the moment, even the Qataris or the Emiratis are spending. Forget the Americans. But we're not spending little, right? The ISL theoretically spends more than teams in Southeast Asia. And look at Southeast Asia development of infrastructure, the talent, the stadiums, the fan culture. It is way ahead of us, sadly, right? That's a sad reality. So the fourth largest GDP are just nothing but numbers on screen. Yeah, Aditya. Again, look at the size, right? Right? USA, China. I mean, Germany, 83 million population, Germany, to 1.4 plus billion in India. Doesn't add up. So we lack quality human resource, coaches and scouts. Yeah. And human resource from a talent perspective. Where, for me, I've never understood in the last 27 years that in India, with 1.4 billion people, we don't have a player technical abilities of a Messi or a Neymar or a Pele or a Maradona, whatever, name them. No, we don't have that. I've never seen that. The by far best technical player I have seen over the last 27 years is a certain I Am Vijan. And I've never seen anyone of the class of I Am Vijan again. And I Am Vijan is someone who I saw in the year 2000. I saw 25 years ago this month, right? So that is the disturbing reality of things now, where we are. DSK Shivajans का क्या हुआ? क्या वो अभी गोवा लीग में है क्या? DSK Shivajans is not from Goa. It's from Pune. And DSK, the group, ran into financial irregularities and then had to shut. It's like the others, the Vadwans, Pune City. So they've been out of business for 8 years. Ambition comes from people who live tough lives. The Africans are therefore hardworking because they have no options. Our players are ambitionless. To say that is wrong, right? I see why have we seen the success of players from Manipur and Mizoram over the last 2-3 decades? Why are they more successful than other players? Because Manipur was first, Mizoram after that. They wanna, they work harder, right? The lack of ambition is solely there in I would say amongst Bengalis, Goans, Malayalis, who were the key providers of talent in Indian football, right? That's the reality. Forget what the Chinese were spending on their prime. We don't even match them right now. Right now, even after so much investment, we get destroyed, even in AFC Challenge League. Yeah, but Aditya, that's the problem, no? Either you spend it right or you spend it wrong. And we mainly spend it wrong, right? What do? We spend too much on our players. I've said this, and I said this in 1996, when the NFL started, for the quality we had in 1996, the players hated it. They're my friends, but I said, you guys are earning too much for that standard at the time, when they were, when they were starting to earn in lakhs. I know it was East Bengal, but they spent so much money. Aditya, it's not East Bengal. Why only one club? It's Mohun Bagan, it's East Bengal, it's Mumbai City, it's Bangalore FC, it is your Odisha FC, it is FC Goa, it is all the teams. Not only in the ISL, I-League too, they are spending too much of money. Kolkata League, right? Elsewhere in the world, if you look at the quality in the Kolkata League, there are teams where you would say, you know what, here you've got 1,000 rupees. If you want to play, or otherwise Tata bye-bye. You don't deserve more. So, money isn't everything. Rather, we need better 100% better structure, better leadership. Simple, right? My choice for national team head is Stephen Constantine. Jyoti, Swaroop, yeah, mine too. If you ask me, 100% I agree with you. Wait, Sandesh used to play for DSK, right? I don't know. I saw a video on YouTube. So it was 9 years ago, uploaded on YouTube. Yeah, I think he played a season at DSK Shivajans. Could be. I'm not sure if. Yeah, I think he could be. I'm not sure. Have you heard about Assam State Premier League? If yes, is it a good league? Debujyoti, I've heard about it. I've heard about the Assam League. It's been called Assam Football League in the past. No, it's not a good league in that way, because it could be better. We have had a population lifted out of poverty over decades. An average Indian kid from middle class family won't be supported to take risks and throw it all out on this game. Yeah, Rishabh. Yeah, but I'm not even looking at the middle class kid. In Manipur and in Mizoram, to take that example of the players who are coming through the most at the moment, why? They take that risk. Like that African kid, they're taking that risk. They're not getting to the world-class level, but they are better than most other kids in India. They're willing to take that level, right? That risk. But the point is, what is our problem? Yeah, you're saying, meanwhile, for an African, it's the best way to escape poverty. They don't have options like we have. Typical study well, find a decent job, settle down. Again, it's about mentality. But Rishabh, this is, and you say, and options, but this is part of the problem, man. But I am not even talking, you're talking about the lower stratas of society. Is for them education an option? To get educated and to find a job, right? I think sports is a good way out, and it is not used in India. So can you disclose why our coaches are pathetic? What is the problem of coach education? I don't think it's a problem of coach education. The AIFF licenses, the AFC licenses are the same as anywhere else. So the license is not the problem. The question is, what do you do? What do you teach your kids? What do you do? And also, what solutions do you find if you don't have the system like in other parts? of the world, right? So therefore, this is where we're stuck at this moment, and it's a challenge. It is a huge challenge at the moment, and the coaches need to be better. The coaches need to be much better. The coaches need to teach the kids the right things. Otherwise, this will not work in the long run. If we forget everything and speak, don't ask the clubs fall victim to the Darwinism. Like if you do problems like that, you will fall. Why didn't ISL clubs spend money in a systematic order? Because they want short-term success. Very simple. I am at the club today, tomorrow. I don't know if I'm going to be there in 3 or 5 years. What? And my owners are saying, I want success now. What do I care? What happens in the future? Because I cannot influence the future. No, that's the challenge. No, so therefore, I don't know. Very difficult, and where we're stuck at this moment in time. Said that AIFF conduct interviews of coaches. As far as I know, no, I've not heard about any interviews. Even though Reliance backed, but what was the reason to spend so much on Indian players and old age foreigners? Aditya, just what I said. Short-term success, right? And at the start, you were somewhat also forced to take certain players at ridiculous amounts. But again, that's part of the way the system sadly runs, right? So therefore, you won't be able to change it, no? So therefore, let's see where we go with this. But it's a problem all over. And the question is, how can we sort out things in a way that we can work towards a better future? But for that, if we don't have, we need to work on it. Make only Indian players in Durand Cup, make 7 foreigners and playing ISL and I-League and a Santosh Trophy with all the Indian players participating, so there will be a chance for India. No, where does the Santosh Trophy come in? The Santosh Trophy, is a waste of time, right? It is an amateur tournament by now because you don't allow players from the top leagues to play. So why give it? Nowhere in the world the Santosh Trophy is given an importance in the professional game. And Durand Cup, why would you make it an all-Indian affair? What is the advantage, right? What was it today? Mohun Bagan playing Mohammedan with all Indians. Has it any value for the players, for the Mohun Bagan players, right? And 7 foreigners, then you don't need, then make it 11 foreigners, because then you don't need ISL and I-League. It makes no sense. The sports in general is not always a way out. There are stories of national level athletes still stuck in the same cycle where they aren't supported well. Some get government jobs, but again, it's exceptional. Rushabh, being a professional Olympic athlete around the world is a struggle. And in India, once you hit the jackpot in winning something, you want to be, this whole Manu Bhaskar story. A shooter, listen, you're an amateur sports person, right? Right? You have to live with it. Odisha FC is shutting down soon. Arnav, we spoke about it a little earlier. It's not only them. It's most of the ISL could be shutting down in the next 5 weeks. So we need leadership change. That's the first step. Yes, Blue, 100%. Where is the vision? Vision on paper we have, but where is the vision as a reality in the AIFF at the moment? So for me, that's the challenge. At the end of the day, that is the biggest challenge. If the right leader with the right group of people running the AIFF, only then can things change. But the way that this is structured, the way that the Supreme Court has gotten involved, the way the AIFF constitution is going to come, the way the sports bill is going to kick in, all of these things are interlinked to ensure that the right people will not be in the right positions. So that's the point. I think Sandesh was part of Sikkim United. Yeah, Dark Knight, he was there originally. He left Baichung Bhutia football schools to join United Sikkim in the first year. He played in the year that they played the I-League in 2012, 2013. Do we need to do something about the Indian football agents with 4 foreigners rule? They are demanding ridiculous amount on players. I can reveal that there is but one agent asked on infinite amount. Aditya, demand and supply. And it's not an Indian agent problem or a global agent problem. If I have a player and I want a figure and the club is willing to pay, that's the problem of the club. Otherwise, buy someone else, right? If they have no interview, no presentation from the coaches, no agendas of coaches known how they select, are they selecting just by seeing the name? I think so. I've not heard any presentation from the 3 coaches. I've not heard anything. I believe this will make playing time for Indian players, and also they will get quality playing time in ISL and I-League. What, 4 players playing, Mithun? Mithun, 4 players playing, right? What is the value? We have at the moment 4 foreigners and 7 Indians playing. You know, has it improved the players? When the foreigner is not standing next to them, they don't know what to do. And if you have 4 Indians and 7 foreigners, those 4 Indians will be even less equipped to take a call and play. Sir, आप OCI player हो क्या? I am not a player. Devajyoti, I'm not a player. Don't get it wrong. I am part of the management. Yes, I am of origin. I'm born and brought up in Germany. I have a German passport. Yes. So, problem is in India, the rich gets richer and the compounding is way too much. The successful players get money, sponsors, subsidy, government, everything. And the ones who are struggling, they get a big sort of blows. That's the problem of the system. Very, very true. Hi, Akash. Welcome back. Your thoughts on the journey of Diamond Harbour FC to the I-League this season? Manish, they've have a very good coach, Q Vikuna, who knows Indian football. And and they're building a team. They will, if the I-League happens, if the ISL happens, they could be playing to win the title. Will new sports biller OCIs in management level at the AIFF? Akash, I think OCIs are even now allowed to work in the AIFF. Why wouldn't they be allowed? I don't know, where does this come from, right? Also, Kropati cricketer who is 8th pass becoming education minister in the district of UP, yeah, deserved it, and the kids deserve that to be fought in India. Yeah, this is education officer. Okay. Yeah. It's look at the presidents of the AIFF and the IOA, and then you know that this is how India decides. Astrologer which will decide Indian coach. Yeah, that night could be, no? I mean, you're making a joke about it, but who knows? Maybe he's still in the room. Who knows? Right in Wikipedia, Sandesh also attracted interest from China League One club during the same days and from Qatari Al Arafa while in 2019 Asian Cup. Devajyoti, if you're reading it on Wikipedia, be very, very careful, because Wikipedia, you and I could write something, and yeah. So therefore, I don't know about this. I believe after reducing the foreigners, I said that quality came down, both the league and Indian players. The Indian players, I don't think the quality has come down. The younger ones are not pushing the older ones. Quality of the league, of course, if you have more foreigners, the quality of the league will be better, 100%. But you have to, this is the challenging thing. What is the right number of foreigners and Indians playing, right? And I think 4 foreigners and 7 Indians is the right mix at the moment, right? I would also say in the I-League, I would make it 3 foreigners and 8 Indians. Like, I don't wish to ask this, but I always wanted to ask you this, because you're an NRI. How do Indians generally who meet you first time, how's that reaction when you say you're part German? Aditya, I don't know. I think a lot of people don't even recognize that. Do I have to say it? No, I don't always say it. But if people want to know my background, I do say, yeah, I'm born and brought up in German. I have a German passport and all of that, but I don't know. I know that, from for example, what Siddharth said yesterday here on the channel and other things, that a lot of people, I have a feeling, fear me by now, because You won't be able to corrupt me. And if you want to get into discussion about a topic, you have to wake up earlier and do your homework, right? That's the thing. Can an OCR be a top level at AIFF like GS or president? Gosh, theoretically, yes. Does it say anywhere in the constitution you have to have an Indian passport to be an office bearer of the federation? I don't think it says that. Sometimes I wonder if all this worth discussing when governance of the sport is passed from one clown to another. It's all just a circus at the end. Vaishnav, yeah, you have a point. You have a very, very valid point. The problem at the moment is that how do we, how do we change things in the right way to take it forward? And that's the challenge at the moment. I think at the moment the challenge is what do we do to get the right people to take charge of the concerned bodies, right? How do we get the right people into the system so that the system can do whatever is needed, right? For me, that's the biggest problem at the moment, right? At the moment, we are not in a position to think, you know what, the right people, and and again, if the right people are not in the right positions, things will not change, and things have gotten in the last few years, in the last 3 years, things have gotten worse. This is our biggest problem in Indian football, that things have not moved in the right direction, and we don't want to talk about what could be the right direction also. That's another thing, because people don't want things to change. No? A lot of people, if the system progresses, if the right people come in, then a lot of people who are involved at this moment in time won't be there, right? Proper pros need to come in and run the game. And that hasn't happened for 50, 60, 70 years, right? Indian football could be at a different level if we were willing to do whatever is needed to take Indian football forward. And that has not happened over the years, right? We've had attempts, this, that, everything, but we're still today where if the ISL this season doesn't happen, we go back at least 30 years in our development. Reducing ISF honor was the biggest mistake we did. No, we didn't, Aditya, because you had to get the Indian players in, and you had to give more time to the Indian players. Therefore, the 7+4 is, I think, the best we can do. If you do, we had 6+5 in that Super Cup played in Odisha, which East Bengal won against Odisha FC, right? That best match was six foreigners in both sides, right? But it's not going to help Indian football, right? I'm a reader of Arunfoot from early 2010. What is the way forward? We're discussing same last 15 years. Midon, as I say, the right leadership. We can talk today, tomorrow, in 5 years, in 10 years. If we don't get the right leadership, things will not move. If that is at the end of the day, the crux of everything. Without right leadership, Indian football will not move forward, right? And yeah. Supreme Court verdict, when will it come? Any date of hearing? Nothing, Blue. As I've been saying for the last few days, some said 15, some said 18, 23rd, 25th. Someone said tomorrow, right? Let's see. Someone said, yeah, 1st of August. So I don't know. So therefore, let's wait and see. Good evening, Simon, a late cameo. Welcome back, Simon. Good to see you. In Manipur is an incident where we find football as a way out of poverty, like in Africa. That's why Kerala Club trial, Manipur kids travel 3,000 euros. Nadeem, I tell you an example. The first ever trials we did at Roundglass, Punjab in 2018. Right? We announced it 7 days notice. Put it on social media as you do, right? Facebook, Insta, this, that, everything, right? You put it out there. Yeah. 80% of kids who turned up were from the Northeast. 80%. And we were in Chandigarh, right? So the idea was mainly to draw talent from Punjab, Haryana, and Chandigarh region. So therefore, you utterly right. These kids travel by train across India. There's that. They travel from A to B for trials. Yeah. It's not only clowns, it's also goddamn criminals. We have had a molester running a wrestling FA while those people be kicked out across all sport. It's a big question to me. Yeah. Rushabh. No, they haven't been. No? They're back. While a character traveling 10 kilometers makes issues when the trials are delayed, they start arguing. Nadeem, Kerala, Bengal, Goa, they don't want to travel 5 kilometers. That's the problem. Hey Roshan, guten Abend. How is the hiring process happening for the national job? Is it done via public way? No. You've had applied via the website, and then they have scouted through the applications, and then they decided on a short list of supposedly 10 to 12. Someone that's now said 20. I've been told 10 to 12, and then cut it down to 3. It looks Stephen is giving a good fight to become Indian coach. IFF news, to me, it is not decided. Whatever has been said in the public by X, Y, and Z, there is no decision so far. Tomorrow, the EXCO will meet. I know that certain people are fighting to get Khalid in, or others are getting, there's another bunch who want Stephen in. So therefore, that's it. But Arunda, forget about Indian football. How are clubs supposed to do good in foreign competition? How about at least we allow that we can have more than 6 foreigners, keep it 4 in starting 11? Aditya, did Mohan Bagan sign 7, keeping ACL 2 in mind last season? You can, no? It's up to you. There are lots of Indian passport players playing in German lower leagues, maybe in Landesliga, but Cirksliga, is it? On the 4th year Regionalliga. Devajyoti, I have not heard or seen. I mean, Landesliga, at least you're not in the West. There are some Indian origin boys who play. I know there's a lot of Malayali boys play. I know also some Sri Lankan Tamils, but I've not seen any Indian passport holders play. So might be something else somewhere else, but at least those where I know, I've not seen any. And when I mention about India's poverty and population, I mean, government prioritizes other issues over football, infra, corporate, CSR goes to other issues, not football. Nadeem, you don't need, what do you need? You need a ground, ideally an uneven ground. You don't even need a world-class football. That's how people, you don't need all of that. We don't need fancy stuff. If the player is able, this is also a thing, if you're able to play on a bad ground, you will be better on a good ground. That's what a friend of mine who's worked a lot in Africa always says. So what did I miss? Any developments? Simon, we're waiting for tomorrow for the EXCO to decide on who becomes the coach. Yeah, that's the big talking point. And then let's see what happens tomorrow. Quick reminder, 1 hour, 24 minutes already, 84 minutes on this live today. Like, share, and subscribe, even if you're watching afterwards. 26 likes so far. Thank you very much. Share with other people. And of course, as I say, subscribe to the channel. Help me grow the community. Let more people join in. Give me the power to push things, to question things here, but also on Instagram, on my Twitter, on other. And as always, thank you for your support. And watch the short videos, guys. I need you to push it. The videos now have the hype option. So therefore, guys, do support, because without your support, I can't be able to push for things in regard to the good ways of Indian football. How is Cooper Mitchell, like Indian cricketers, talking about his transfer to the Boston Hurricanes? Championship level player. I've not seen him play, so Aditya, I don't know. What's the fuss around sports now? Is it to be passed by the parliament? Simon, they've got other issues at the moment. Let's wait and see. Yeah, I know the sports bill. I was also a good footballer in my 10-12 age. Coach who started academy near me invited me. I didn't want to take football as a career, even though I follow football as only few succeed. I focused on studies, got a job. This will be the think of many from Kerala. Study, get a job, go to Gulf countries. Yeah. Nadeem, that's the point, no? Because you have the option, or you had the option, that if I study well, I can go to the Middle East and get a good job. I think even if we had those kids coming from poverty background, they settle down to their best clubs and academies in India, they aren't guided to go abroad, or they don't even know if they can. Rushabh, I know that when we had the discussion about players going to Viking Stavanger in 2019, a lot of players turned it down. 2013, we had Nirmal Chetri and Godwin Franco at Fortuna Düsseldorf. I had 4 players turning it down, the opportunity to train with a second Bundesliga club and potentially signing for their reserve team in the 4th division. So yeah, very right. Because the players are, in India, the players also out, especially out of poverty, are spoiled by the money. Why does a 17, 18, 19-year-old think, oh, you know what, I signed for big team? How many of the Classic Football Academy boys have now signed for Mohun Bagan, BFC, and this and that and everything? Even in my beloved state of Uttarakhand, children are so passionate about football and basketball, the federations don't even do the bare minimum to encourage them. It will always be a pain to me. Yeah, the state associations are part of the problem, right? They are at the moment not part of the solution. World Cup is very well organized this year. I'm not following it, so I can't judge. Now, do you think that if the coach has decided the whole plan for the next months, for example, Vishwa Kafa, Nations Cup and qualifiers is cleared with the coach? Yes, of course. That's going to be the key. You know, Africans just straight up aim for abroad. But Rushabh, you just said, didn't just Nadeem say that he studies and then the aim is go to the Gulf? It's also to go abroad, right? हम इसमें क्या बहस कर रहे हैं? Khalid बनेगा sit है Paris. No, Kunal is not. This is one of those mysteries. Even if Khalid tomorrow gets the job, it was never said. If anybody says that, sorry, the person does not know. I can say that with conviction. Right? I guess it is in mentality also. North is very remote. They had to travel a lot for even to go to near cities, and poverty is there too, but poverty there is in other parts too, but they don't consider football. That's it. But Blue, they love football, right? So therefore, yeah, that's the thing. Northeast United FC jersey review. Raj, I've not really looked at it in detail. Just let me see once how it looks. Sorry, I just saw it, but I have not really paid too much attention to it. Let me just quickly have another look. Northeast United FC. There it is. The young lady with the jersey. It looks simple, looks stylish, I would say. I don't know. I'm just seeing what they put out. I saw the video. I want to see a picture of it. Let's see. I want to see a proper picture, and then maybe we can talk about it. How can Mizoram, a small state government, is doing so good in football, but big and richer states with some sort of football engagement like West Bengal don't do it? Because Blue, in Mizoram, you had the leadership. Tete Amar, as a secretary, convinced his president, who was the brother of the chief minister. The chief minister got convinced. And then he had good people working with him and under him. And as I said, it's leadership and it's teamwork. That is why Mizoram has achieved what it has achieved in football, right? So that's it. I usually hope nothing, but I just hope the Supreme Court verdict benefits us. Simon, yeah, let's see. Understandably said, I'm more into European football this year. Yeah, Simon, I understand it. And I see football fans of Kerala criticizing Northeast players and Kerala club youth systems, saying these overage guys are taking local players' spot. Yeah, but Nadeem, are they, if they're overage, yes, but then there's a problem. So why are Usami players talk about playing for Real Madrid, Barcelona, Manchester, but they don't try their luck in foreign league? Because no one will take them. Who will take an Indian youth player in Europe? We don't have the right. Raj says, I have questions regarding judges and lawyers represent actually knowing situation reality when you football. They don't, Raj. And some of them are misinterpreting and misrepresenting also. That's also reality. I think if we want to bring out more kids into football, find that exceptional talent, we need school football to be stronger, where players can be scouted to the so-called best academies. Yeah. Worship needs to happen, but that's there's so much that needs to happen across India, across the board, for us to take football to a different level. And Simon says that concerns me the most as answer to Raj. Yeah, that's the problem. I mean, Simon has hope, that the Supreme Court verdict benefits us. But if I see how people have been representing and have been giving them the infos, then my biggest doubt is if the justices have been given the right picture of things, if they've been given the real facts which are needed in this case. Sorry, Northeast United FC. Sorry. Northeast United did a great job getting right. Reebok has looked at different brands, and to me, they're working with Northeast United because they think they want to work with John Abram on other things as well. So that would be my logic. Same here too. Mohun Bagan is full of Northeastern, though in same case it makes sense because they aren't doing anything to help the local players. Yeah, the local players. Some will say, "Oh, the local players don't get a chance," and others said the local players are not doing enough to deserve a chance now. What do you think about the student athlete pathways through D1 programs and the entering the MS draft? If they do well, is this pathway is it more realistic? Why should not for Indian players? Because Europeans, South Americans, even Japanese, Koreans do that, right? There's this, what's the name? The German guy who even now represented the United States, was a fourth division player here in Germany, went to study to the US and then became a big player at Atlanta United, then even played with Messi and all that stuff at Inter Miami, played now for the US. Yeah, if we want to take that educational route, why not? But it's as with everything else, it's a challenge, right? It's the district FA's responsibility, right? When they could encourage school stuff with football team, we can't always blame the AIFF. There's so many stakeholders, nobody's doing really good, to be honest. Yeah, Rushabh, it is as it we blame everything on the AIFF, but it is the AIFF certainly has to take its share of the blame. It is the clubs, it is the state FAs, it's the academies, it's the coaches, it's the players, it's the fans, it's the media. Every stakeholder in Indian football has his or her share of the blame, right? And that's the problem, no? Onban is not able to produce Bengali talents, leaving some. Yeah, not. But the ones that they produce have been produced by others. I know what did they mean? Jandawi. No. Jandawi went also to the US, but he didn't go to study, right? I meant, I forgot the guy's name. Jandawi is now in Hoffenheim, right? And they in the B team. It's very difficult, guys. But these are the realities. Tomorrow we should know who's going to be the head coach of the Indian national team. I'm gonna be at. Let's see if I can do a live tomorrow. It looks a little tough because I have to be at Handball Bundesliga here in Remscheid. Local teams are playing. Bergische HC and VfL Gummersbach. So I'll be watching tomorrow Bundesliga preseason handball. So therefore there won't be a 9:45 show. Let me see if I can do a short one beforehand or maybe after, maybe a late show, if the national team coach is confirmed tomorrow. And yeah, let's see. I mean, yeah. So that's a. Oh, then Julian Gressel. Yeah, Julian Gressel. Thanks, Roshan. Thanks, Roshan, for that. Yes, that's the guy. Vijay and Satyan, Jopal, Sharif Ali, and many. Yeah, Nadeem, you've had a lot, but no one, Jopal as good, Satyan as good, Sharif Ali is good, but I'm Vijay, exceptional. Yeah, just a thought about Nita Ambani as AIFF president could solve the ISL issue. Jordan, I don't think she would do it. And with the new rules that you come in, not happening. Tomorrow is D-Day or Blue, I hope it is D-Day. Again, anyone, it has to be Stephen to me. No, I don't have an Indian passport, Raj. I'm a German passport holder and an OCI holder, right? Growing up, I was crying for a football team in my school. Very few schools had one in my area. You can't even imagine how many kids missed out getting into the system. Yeah, Russia, that's the reality. Right. I end it for today. As always, like, share, subscribe. Never stop supporting Indian football. As I say, watch the short videos and spread to other people. Let's grow the community. I need your help, guys. Only with your help, with more people coming in. And yeah, let's see who becomes the head coach. As I said, I don't know. I will, short notice, most probably do a live tomorrow at some stage somewhere and then talk about it. And let's see. Tomorrow, D-Day. Let's see who becomes the new Indian head coach. Like, share, and subscribe. arunfoot here on YouTube. Visit my other social media. Visit arunfoot.com. Yeah, and also I've been doing some Instagram shorts. Do give it some likes and love, and I'll see you at some stage tomorrow, maybe a little later than usual. So now it's all signing off. Bye for now.